Well, welcome everybody again to the session, PaperSafe Procurement for Blackbaud FENXT. Today on the agenda, we'll start out with some welcome and introductions, kind of discuss what we're going to be talking about today, and then go right into the demo of the product as well as some Q&A. First, for introductions, I'm Tosh Konge, an account executive here at PaperSave. Know I've worked with, again, a few of you in the past. I recognize your names in the chat. Work exclusively with Blackbaud customers and also with the Blackbaud team for both Financial Edge and Razor's Edge NXT to automate and streamline business practices. But today, also have the pleasure of being joined by my colleague Janet Martin, who is our senior sales engineer here at PairSoft, and really the start of the show today. We'll be walking you through the demo later on through FENXT and procurement. Really first, I wanted to start out and remind everybody here with PairSoft really what we have as a full catalog and offerings. Today, we'll be focusing on requisitions and procurement, as well as catalogs and punch out in that purchasing quadrant, but also have AP invoice automation, transaction automation, payment management and making a payment, document management, KPIs, and benchmarking. And this is all fully integrated with Blackbaud FENXT. Just a reminder of kind of why procurement is important and what you're getting with PaperSafe Procurement. You'll have that out-of-the-box integration with Blackbaud FENXT. You'll get unlimited users and unlimited storage through PaperSafe's integration with Blackbaud. And some of the things, again, you'll be seeing today are that punch-out catalogs, that dynamic approval engine, robust approval center, as well as complete PO management within Blackbaud. Why procurement matters. The big thing we're hearing from our customers is control and visibility over spend is a big issue in what they're looking to help solve with using a procurement tool. Compliance and auditing, looking to eliminate additional manual processes in their organization, as well as being able to authorize purchases using a centralized, structured approval process with that indirect spending. Also, the ability to leverage your data and that integration with FENXT, that native integration, meaning no data import exports. It's all natively connected within your Blackbaud Financial Edge system. And with that, again, I'll toss it over to the star of the show, Janet Martin, who will be walking you through the demo today.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Tosh, so sorry about that. We've got people here with multiple names on the demo today. As Tosh said, my name is Janet Martin. I have been with PairSoft for over about 14 years, mainly within the procurement world. So I'm going to kind of walk through here right from the dashboard, but I do want to talk a little bit about that integration with NXT before we get started, because it's the most important feature. So we're integrated over to PaperSave. And with that PaperSave, you can set up unlimited users, the spending authority, and give them their roles and access. So I'm an admin user, so I've like a lot of functionality available here on my dashboard. But depending on that role, they may or may not have everything here that's seen on my screen. As far as NXT, we're bringing in the vendors, their addresses, their payment terms, things of that nature, and the chart of accounts, as well as the project and the transaction code. So all of those that are needed in order to code a PO correctly. We're going to start with the requisition. We're going to look at some of the tools, what those benefits are, and we really kind of want to hone in on that procurement group right now, because we really want to set them up to become revenue generated. We all hear that everybody in the procurement department spends a lot of money, but here within procurement, we can kind of flip that around and give them tools, and they're going to actually end up making money for the company. One of those tools is our featured catalog. So we have a very easy setup for featured catalogs. These are catalogs that the procurement team can manage. Now, depending on their industry, they may set up different categories than what I'm showing here on my dashboard. But I can set up categories under office supplies. I can then, get different ways to look for things here by clicking directly on it. I can search an internal catalog here in my search bar, or I can simply click on it. And when I click on it, it's going to bring up all of those office supplies. I have different filters here, but very limited things here in my catalog. And I'm going to go ahead and add a couple to my cart. I'm going to go back to the catalog dashboard. And again, these are catalogs that, purchasing can kind of manage. If we think about what's the most important feature is we're really directing the end users on where they're going to purchase things. If Tosh goes out and orders from Staples and I go order from Office Depot and Joseph orders from Office Max, it's not just 3 POs. It's going to be, 3 receipts, 3 invoices, and then 3 payments. So by consolidating the vendors, designating where we're going to purchase them, and give them that online shopping experience, it's going to make everyone's job a whole lot easier. We also support punch-out catalogs. Now, we don't have the punch-out catalogs in our system, but we do integrate. So the customer will work with the vendor, ask if they support punch-out catalogs. They'll get set up. And then from there, we'll be able to connect to it. So when, for example, when they click on Amazon, this is kind of loading that Amazon URL. However, it is connected to their customer account. Just like they were shopping at home, it's pretty easy. They're going to put in what they're looking to purchase. They have a lot of returns. They're going to find what it is they're looking for. They can simply add it to the cart. Now, one of the nice things here is it shows me that it's in stock and when I can have it delivered by. So that's a huge benefit in reducing down on all those PO change orders. And when you and I submit this for the approval, it actually charges our credit card and items show up at our door. When we submit it, being attached to our procurement, it's actually bringing it into our shopping cart because we want to get this approved before we create POs. So it's added here. And in addition, these are the 3 things that we added previously. I'm going to go ahead and click on create requisition. And so within the requisition and as a user, I've already connected to my username here. I've been tagged with a department. I also have my ship to and my bill to defaulted in. If I look at the individual lines, and again, a requisition is unlike a PO. A PO is a one-to-one relationship between that PO and a very specific vendor. With a requisition, I can have multiple vendors on it, and then we're going to split out the POs after it's been approved. So I'm going to work on the first one here, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to actually add that GL account. And these are a little bit different in NXT, having that ability to have the project and transactional codes. That's actually coming in July 1st. But there will be fields where they can select all of those in addition to the first 3 digits. Most of the NXT clients, it's that expense account. It could be a location or a department. And then I'm going to pick that date required. When do I need this by? This is going to actually print on the PO. And when I selected the vendor, it brought in the vendor's purchasing address as well as the payment terms. I'm going to move down to the second line. And again, I'm going to select that GL account and that date required. And we'll move to 3. And the 4th line. Now we also can type into a requisition. So maybe, it's some services that I'm needing. It could be, maybe I went out and got my own quote on my own items. I can click on add item here and I can enter an item name. We're gonna just call this office services. I'm gonna say some office cleaning. I'm gonna pick my vendors. And again, these are the vendors that are set up in NXT. We want to make sure that the vendors are populating from NXT. We don't want anybody purchasing from a vendor that is not already set up in NXT. That causes a lot of havoc with the invoice matching when the vendor is not available in NXT. So they're going to keep that same process intact where they're going to truly vet out their vendors with the accounts payable department. Accounts payable, they have different requirements. They need to figure out the payment terms, the purchasing address, and set them up. So from here, I can start to type the search. I'm just going to select the vendor. I'm going to put in the quantity. I have my unit of measures, how much it is per hour. And then down below, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to code it. And I'm going to pick the date that I want him to come in and clean the office. Now, a lot of clients actually use purchase orders for an entire year. They call them a blanket PO. And I can manage a blanket by POs by really flipping the quantity and that price. So if I'm needing a $10,000 PO, and maybe it's a contract for some consulting services or maybe, legal services, I could do a quantity of 10,000 at $1. And now I have a $10,000 PO. And then when invoices come in, I can apply it and pay down that quantity. And that way I can have that balance open and receive throughout the year the additional invoices. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this for approval. Any questions, feel free to put that in the chat. Our routing is very robust. So I have a department set up. I also have the ability, maybe this goes to my department manager, maybe because then it's over a certain amount, it needs to go to our VP of our department. Maybe because it's over $10,000, that then needs to be approved by the CFO. Whatever that kind of hierarchy is, you can build that within the procurement system just to make sure nobody gets missed in the mix. Our approver is going to receive an email notification, and they're going to log into procurement. And from their dashboard, I'm just going to refresh my screen here. From their dashboard, they're going to go to the approval center, and they're going to see all of their pending requisition lines that are available for them to approve. Now, I can approve all. I can actually just click and say, yep, I'm approving all, and everything is done. I also can approve and disapprove at the line level. Once I have approved it, it automatically creates the purchase orders. So here within my procurement, I can see that some are approved and some have already been delivered. And the reason being is when we bring in the vendors, you have the opportunity to actually set up an email address and then automatically check a box that says when the PO is created, automatically send that to the vendor. For other ones that you kind of want to review first, you can come in, you can look at that. And we do have a print function here. So I do have the ability to look at that PL. It will have that client's logo and it's got the purchase order number. The POs do stay here in the procurement. So the PO is not going over to NXT. And then I have all of that, the payment terms, the shipping method, the vendor information. You all see me pick that vendor ID, but it populated the vendor. Same with the bill to and ship to assigned to the individual users, but that is populated here. And then what it is that I'm procuring. So from here, I can go ahead, I can print this, I can save this, I can, go to my Outlook and email that. I have the option to automatically email the vendor And then I also have the option to see if this vendor is set up for auto PO delivery. So if it is, when I click on that, it would automatically email that. But this one does not have a vendor email address. Now I can go to the vendor and set that up. But in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and print that. And can go back to our other purchase orders here. And again, if not automatically flagged, it just shows that it's approved. You can click on the icon and go ahead, and now we've emailed the vendor. The vendor is going to receive an email notification, and within that email notification, it is going to, let me drag this over. In their email notification, it's going to have that purchase order will come from the client, and then we'll let them know that there is a PO attached, so that can automatically be sent over. For the PaperSave invoicing side, and again, this is coming July 1st, so we don't have the ability to show it today. But if, I've sent a PO to the vendor, when they invoice it, they're going to put that PO number on the invoice. Inside of PaperSave, when we scan that invoice, it's going to see that there is a PO number. It will look into procurement and pull those lines of the PON. And then from there, you can manage it. Maybe I ordered 50, but they only shipped and invoicing me for 25. Totally doable. It will still leave that PO open for that remaining 25. So that's probably a pretty good overview. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop share there, Tosh. I don't know if we have some questions in the chat that we want to answer today.
Yes, Janet, we do have some, and one that we just got for that example that you showed for office services. Who approves the work that was done against the blanket PO, and is there a workflow for that?
Yeah, so that would be however you set that invoice up in PaperSave. So when I've got that blanket PO and the invoice comes in, and it's going to look at the PO, it's going to bring in what's available, what's left on that PO on the line. So maybe this time it's $1,000 that they're invoicing, and then you can actually pick somebody to approve it, to say, hey, was this work performed? And design that workflow around, as well as if you have project managers that are managing certain things. Great question.
Perfect. And I can take this next one. It is, what's the implementation time like for this so far? How long can we get up and running in? And for our latest customer on PaperSave Procurement, it took 2.5 weeks from implementation to be up and running. One more, Janet, that we have is, are we able to combine this with payments too for full procure-to-pay?
Absolutely. So payments is going to come from PaperSave, right? So these are invoices that's already been posted inside of PaperSave. So that gives you that full procure-to-pay solution.
Perfect. And are there analytics available with this still, Janet? Is there any reporting with inside the procurement platform?
Yeah, so reporting is coming out, I believe, the third quarter. So we have a pretty strong roadmap that we're leaning into in this third and fourth quarter. But I will tell you, there's many things here that, whether it's a certain purchase order or maybe it's a requisition, right? So we have filters here, and I can actually go in, and maybe I'm looking for, a certain, maybe users that may be within a date range. So I can grab certain data from here. If I go over to purchase order, I may be looking for, show me a specific, PO for a certain subset of vendors. I can actually come in and I can filter that and select it. but we have a little export to Excel here. So this is really a great temporary solution. I can see what it was, who ordered it, where did we buy it from, how was it shipped, and what department. So that's a great little tool in the meantime to go and use those filters and just kind of export out. We don't have analytics yet, but that's also something on the roadmap.
Perfect. And then one last one, Janet, at what point is there a financial transaction reflected in FENXT?
So currently today, we don't have the encumbrance integration because I think that's probably going to be your question if we're supporting the encumbrance budget. It is on the roadmap, so today that financial impact would not occur until you actually posted the invoice.
And Janet, forgive me, I'm a liar. This is the last one.
Oh, no, this is great.
How many levels or people can approve one requisition?
As many as you need. So we really kind of look at your organizational chart and based on, what it is. I mean, there could be multiple, right? It could be based on many different things. And you would be able to set that up. And I just realized, Josh, I answered a question and I wasn't sharing my screen. So I want to go back really quick. So we have all of these filters here. So what I was saying earlier is here I can look for a particular vendor. It may be particular, who created, right? Requisitions. I may be looking for a date range of certain PO numbers, whatever that may be. I can go ahead and select those filters and then export it out to Excel. So this makes it a really great temporary solution until reports are built. This would show me everything within my filters. Who, what, when, where, how much was it, where did I buy it? And we'll also have the ability to bring in the PO, whether, it's just been approved or whether it's been invoiced. Sorry about that. I thought we were all ready. I thought I was still showing. I realized I just talked about it and didn't show anything, so I wanted to correct that.
No worries, and I appreciate everyone joining us today and Janet for walking us through that PaperSave procurement demo for FENXT. If we didn't get a chance to answer your question today, you'll hear from us shortly after this. And in the chat, you'll have my email as well. If you'd like to receive a demo more specific to your setup, we'll be more than happy to set that up for you guys. Thank you all again for joining us.